Instant match reaction, Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0 in the FA Cup third round. And do you know what? I think that might just be me done with football, to be perfectly honest with you. I was going to say that might just be me done with this sport, but this isn't a sport anymore. It's a reality television show in which every decision is made prior to a game, and you know, ultimately the people that are in charge of running the games of football can't even make it look like it's a sport anymore. The corruption is so blatantly on show that if you still don't see it and don't agree that it's blatantly corrupt and still believe that there's nothing wrong with football, then you must be blind, to be perfectly honest with you. You must be blind, because how obvious do they have to make it? Again, what was a pretty boring game of football, a very Thursday night game of football is how I would describe it, in terms of two sides. You know, both had a couple of opportunities each, but for the majority of it, nothing really happened. And yet, they've still managed to make an absolutely horrendous decision. They did it against Wolves as well on Saturday, but I didn't bring it up. Dwight McNeil was grabbed round the throat and nothing was done about it. But because Everton lost the game so convincingly and we were always going to lose the game, I never made anything of it. But I remember thinking at the time, Everton have been so poor in that game and lost convincingly, and Wolves had deserved to win, and yet they'd still shown that they've got it in against Everton. There was a clip going round of Baz from Toffee TV on social media, as you'll all know, my good friend Baz, talking about how there is a blatant agenda against Everton Football Club by these referees and by the organisations such as the PGMOL, the Premier League, the FA, etc, etc, etc. And people laughed at it on social media. People laughed at the suggestion that there'd be an agenda against Everton. Open your fucking eyes. It's blatantly on show. What's the point anymore? Like, what is the point? I mean, the commentator saying at the end of the game there, Everton fans will be the happier fan base with a draw, to go to a replay. No. In fact, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I think Everton should turn around and say, fuck your replay, we're not playing it. Because what's the point anymore? We come on here every single year and talk about how great it would be to see Everton win a trophy, how unbelievable it'd be to go to Wembley and see an Everton team lift a trophy again. But what we fail to realise, and I am guilty of this as well, what we fail to realise is it doesn't matter if Everton play brilliantly. It doesn't matter if Everton deserve to win a game of football or if Everton deserve to win a trophy. We will never be allowed to win a trophy because of the corruption in football in this country. It doesn't matter if we have the best team or we play the best. There will always be a decision, an absolute nonsense decision that goes against us, that stops us winning anything. So what's the fucking point? Tell them to shove their replay up their arse. We're not interested. In fact, I'd go one step further. If I was Sean Dyche today, I'd have dragged those players off the pitch after that sending off. I'd have dragged them off the pitch and I'd have said, get to fuck. They can go through, not having it anymore, not having it. And I'd take the Premier League and I'd take the FA and I'd take the PGMOL to court, and I'd say, we ain't kicking another fucking ball, mate, until we get proof that there isn't something going on. Because how obvious do they have to make it? Dominic Calvert-Lewin slides in for a slide challenge, wins the ball, collects the ball. The referee is standing right in front of it, doesn't give anything. There's barely any contact with Nathaniel Klein, who's thrown himself on the floor. But then again, that's to be expected by Crystal Palace. They've got a team full of diving cheats. Throws himself on the floor. And then all of a sudden, the referee goes over to the monitor, watches it again, and it's a sending off. But when Virgil van Dijk stood right on Amadou Onana's leg and caught him halfway up his shin, no sending off, not enough contact. How come when it's not in Everton's favour, it doesn't matter how much contact there is, a sending off can be given? By the way, Craig Pawson was VAR today. I also believe Craig Pawson was VAR when Allen was sent off against Newcastle a couple of years ago. Oh wait, let me remember. Another challenge where there wasn't any contact whatsoever. The rule states if it's dangerous play and it's endangering an opposition player, that wasn't endangering an opposition player because he didn't fucking touch him. You may as well just give sendings off for players walking past the player. Oh, you've just walked past him there with your elbow, and your elbow was about, let's say 5 yards away from his face, so you could have hit him with that sending off. It's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. And there wasn't much to talk about today anyway with this game because nothing really happened. We had a couple of opportunities. They had a couple of opportunities. The majority of the game was just it was, as I said, it was a Thursday night game in the pissing down rain on ITV that none of us really wanted to watch. None of us really wanted to take part in, but we were there, we did, and it was what it was. We were the better team, we were the more dominant team. But what's the point? What's the point anymore? I genuinely, and I mean this, I'm not just saying this because the game's just ended and I'm emotional and, for attention or whatever. I genuinely don't know if I want to renew my season ticket next season. I don't, because I just don't see the point in it anymore. I really, really don't see the point in it anymore. And people can say, oh, but it's Everton and you love the club and you're this and you're that and you're the other. But until every single one of those referees is put on a plane or a boat or a train and fucked off to somewhere in the arse end of the world where they can never be heard of again, I don't think I want to participate in watching this sport. Because as much as I love Everton Football Club and as much as this football club is my life, what's the point anymore? What's the point? It's not a case of the sport's dead because referees are making bad decisions or the rules are bad decisions. It's so blatantly, obviously corrupt. It's so blatantly, obviously corrupt. There's not a chance that is given the other way round. Oh, and by the way, 10 minutes later, Beto has his arms, the defender, I think it's Anderson, has his arms wrapped around Beto. The commentators are saying not enough contact, not enough contact. He's fucking hugging him from behind. He's hugging him. There was more of an hug than I give me fucking mad on Christmas Day. He's hugging him from behind. What do you mean, not enough contact? Beto goes down because he's being hugged from behind. No penalty. No penalty. But let me just remind you that when Amadou Onana had the ball smashed at him from about 3 centimetres away, it was a penalty because it doesn't matter how far it is away. There's enough contact there. I honestly, I don't see the point anymore. I don't see the point. Like I said, we do every time Everton have a cup game, I come on here and I do the preview. And I said this yesterday in the preview as well, and I put a clip on social media today about Everton's need to win a trophy, about how this football club have gone far too long without winning silverware, and I need to see my football club win a trophy. And although I believed it was a long shot because of the quality of certain other teams in this country and the depth that certain other teams have got in this country, I still felt like we had that little glimmer of hope that we could go and maybe we could catch a Liverpool on an off day or a Chelsea on an off day and we could go and get a good result. After that today, what's the point? As I said, for me, I wouldn't play the replay because what's the point? Because even if we get through in the replay, we'll get done somewhere else down the line. Exactly like we would have done had we have gotten through against Fulham. We'll get done somewhere else down the line. It's not a coincidence that there's only one team that have won the FA Cup outside of the Big Six in the last decade. It's not a coincidence that nobody outside of the Big Six has won the League Cup for over 10 years or whatever it is. It's not a coincidence anymore. Yes, it's probably to do with the fact that these teams have got loads of money to spend and are able to spend it, even though other teams aren't able to spend their money, ironically. But also, look at that tonight. Like, I mean, what's the point? And the worst thing is if it isn't corrupt and they've got nothing to hide and it's as, it's as clean as a whistle as the FA and the PGMOL claim it is, then Chris Kavanagh won't referee another top-level game again because that is the worst decision I've ever seen in a football game. And Craig Pawson will never referee a top-level game again because that genuinely, in my 25 years of watching Everton, I've never seen a worse decision than that. And I know I said that a couple of weeks ago, but this one tops the lot. You're practically given a sending off there because he's attempted the challenge. And if what you're now saying is we can't attempt to make challenges in a game of football, you're effectively saying you just have to sit there while the opposition team piles on you and while the opposition team scores goals, and then we get to the what's the fucking point? I don't want to go and watch Everton if our players can't even win a clean sliding challenge without being sent off. It's bollocks. It's absolute nonsense. And I'm done with it. I'm absolutely done with it because, as I said, what's the point? Nobody can tell me now that this isn't corrupt. Nobody. And if you are a fan of an opposition team and you don't see it, it's because your team benefits from it. Open your eyes and stop being so arrogant to what is blatant corruption. It's an absolute disgrace. And like I said, if it isn't corruption, grow a pair of balls, Howard Webb. Grow a pair of balls, PGMOL. Grow a pair of balls, Dermot Gallagher, the Skeleton, and Mike Dean, and all them other dickheads that go on these television programmes on a Monday morning and say, oh yeah, the referee had a great game today. Grow a pair of bollocks and come out and say, that's a disgraceful decision, that, and he should be, he should be punished for it. But he won't. He won't. He'll be managing. He'll be refereeing a Premier League game in 10 days' time, and Craig Pawson will be refereeing a Premier League game in 10 days' time as well, and all will be forgotten. The only job in the world where you can make catastrophic mistakes that potentially cost companies millions and millions of pounds, and you can be told that people should feel sorry for you. Why should I feel sorry for any of them? I said last week they don't deserve an ounce of respect. None of them deserve an ounce of respect. And then they want to come out on podcasts. Oh, it's a hard job. We've got this, we've got that. It's not an hard job if you've got 40,000 fucking cameras and a slow motion replay to watch a decision again, and yet you still make the wrong decision. They're an absolute disgrace, every one of them. I've got no time for any of them. I've got no respect for any of them. And like I said, if it was up to me, I'd lash them all on a fucking plane and I'd fuck them off to the arse end of nowhere, never to be seen or heard of again. Never to be seen or heard of again. The only job in this world where you can make a catastrophic error, in fact, not just one catastrophic error, you can make multiple catastrophic errors in the space of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and you get a pat on the back for it, and you get another $4,000 or whatever they get per game the next week. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And like I said, listen, I'm not the owner of Everton Football Club. I'm not the manager of Everton Football Club. If it was down to me, and taking the emotion completely out of it now and looking at it from a pure business point of view, if it was up to me, I'd say, no, there's something going on here and it's affecting our business. They've wanted us down for 2 years, which hugely affected our business. They've given us a 10 points deduction, which has hugely affected our business because we should be 10 places higher, 5-6 places higher in the table, and it's extra £2 million per place. So that's financially affected our business. If I was the owner of Everton Football Club, who knows who the owner of Everton Football Club is now, Farhad Moshiri, as I said, don't even get me started on him because it'll be another half an hour rant about how much of an idiot he is. Soon as Josh Wanda comes in, I'd be saying to them, we're taking you to court, mate. Because we've got a whole list of evidence here of decisions that have been given against us, and we've got a whole list of identical decisions that should have gone for us on the basis that these went against us, and yet they didn't. Like I've just said, that red card never gets given if it's the other way around. And rightly so, by the way, because it's never a red card. And that hold on Beto at the end of the game is at 1,000% given at the other end of the pitch. Because they decided they wanted Crystal Palace to win before the ball was kicked. So tell me what's the difference now between this and WWE. Tell me. Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me what's the difference. I had people on social media over the last couple of days or so telling me that darts isn't a sport. Darts isn't a sport. Darts is a game. It's not a sport. It's this. How can darts be classed as a sport? How can football be classed as a sport? Fucking open your eyes and watch what you're seeing. How can football be classed as a sport? Look at it. It's a state. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Like I said, I genuinely don't know if I can be arsed next season. Genuinely don't know if I can be arsed next season, because what's the point? What is the point? What's the point? I love watching the WWE, but I'm not emotionally attached to it. So I don't want to come on a camera and scream and shout when a decision doesn't go the way I think it should, because I sit back and go, oh yeah, actually, that's scripted, that, and that decision was made before the situation actually happened. And the WWE come out and go, yeah, we write our storylines. We know what's going to happen before it happens. The Premier League may as well come out and say that now. The FA may as well come out and say that now, because it's so blatantly obvious. And as I've just said, if it isn't the case, if it is squeaky clean, if it is absolutely fine, and this, that, and the other, and all this bollocks, the best sport in the world, the best league in the world, fuck off, it is shite. I had more fun watching the darts for 2 weeks than I've had. Never mind watching Everton. Forget Everton. You know, forget the fact that Everton have been in two relegation battles. I had more fun watching the darts for that 2 week period than I've had watching football for the last 10 years, because this sport is fucking dead, mate. It's absolutely on its arse. It is on its arse, and it will not come back until, as I said, there is somebody, whether it be Everton or whether it be somebody else, takes these criminals to court and says, hang on, this isn't right. What's going on here? And until that day, I don't know whether I can be asked to invest in any more energy into this sport. Forget Everton. I love Everton. I'd go and watch Everton if they were a basketball team. I'd go and watch Everton if they were stacking shelves in the local, shop, supermarket. I'd go and watch Everton if they were down the street cleaning the pavement. I'd watch Everton do anything, but forget Everton for the moment. I don't know if I can be asked with this sport anymore. I really, really don't. I really don't, because what's the point? What is the point now? There was nothing going on in that game. Nothing. Each team, couple of opportunities. Danjuma had a couple of opportunities, did well. They had a couple of chances. Fairly even game. As I said, a game between both sides who just looked like they couldn't be arsed. And they not couldn't be arsed in terms of the effort, but two sides that looked like they needed the break and they needed a bit of time away. And yet, the referees still managed to make it about themselves. I said a week ago, there's nobody within football, nobody. Think of all of the biggest footballers in the world. Cristiano Ronaldo, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Jose Mourinho. Three of them are three people within football that are known to have quite big egos. And rightly so, by the way, because they've won an awful lot between them. Of course they have. None of them, even all three of them put together, haven't got as big of an ego as a Premier League referee, and that today has just shown it. Nothing happening in the game, no reason to make a shocking decision, and yet they still want to be centre of attention. They still want to be the one that everybody's talking about. They still want to be the person that everybody's looking at the end of the game. The most egotistical clowns on this planet, every one of them. And I'm sick to death of it. I'm absolutely sick to death of it. I couldn't care about the result today. I couldn't care. From that moment on, I couldn't have cared if Crystal Palace had gone and scored the winner. Because as I said, I don't want Everton to play the replay. I want Everton to come out and say, fuck your replay. Not a chance. We're not playing it. We're not playing it. Because what's the point? What's the point? Yeah, there you go. I don't know if you're going to get anything constructive out of me tonight about the game. Firstly, because of the decision, but secondly, because nothing really happened in the game to be constructive about. But yeah, I just don't. Yeah. Like I said, I have fallen out of love with this sport, and I never thought I'd say that. You know, I used to leave Goodison Park on a Saturday evening when I was a kid growing up, or a Sunday evening or whatever it was, and I could not wait to get back there. Could not wait to get back. The moment I left the turnstile, I was thinking about when I was next going to be back there. My whole week depended on when I was going to be back at Goodison. Saturday was the best day of the week. The best day of the week. Friday night was unbelievable. We're back at Goodison tomorrow. Get to watch Everton, this, that and the other. I love this sport. I love that football club, and I still do love my football club, but this sport, I can't be arsed with it anymore. I honestly can't be arsed with it. So, there you go. I'm not going to ask you to like, because I've not really said anything constructive, but I had to get this off my chest because, yeah. Thought Onana played well today, on a positive. Thought Mikalenko done well. Thought Coleman done well. Dwight McNeil getting stretched off at the end there. Hopefully that's nothing too serious for him. Never a good look when a player gets stretched off, so wishing him a speedy recovery, whatever it is. Hopefully he can get over the majority of what it is in that 10-day period that is coming. But yeah, I don't see the point. There you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Nice one for watching. See you after.